Hello everybody. Today I'm going to be taking you through a flow for new beginnings. So this is going to be a practice to awaken that inner goddess or inner god, working through the heart center, really opening out the body and just finding the most delicious stretches to open mind, body and spirit. So when you're ready, we'll get started in a cross-legged position. You can slide something underneath the sit bones if you'd like, just to help tilt the pelvis, to lengthen through the spine more. The palms can face down on the thighs for more of a grounding energy, or you can have the palms flipped for your receiving. Whatever calls to you today, move through that. And we'll just allow the shoulders to drop down and away from the ears, lengthening up through the crown of the head. Taking your first few moments just to settle in, to become aware of the breath. Observing the ebb and flow, the in, the out, the expansion and contraction. Acknowledging the breath as well as the body, noticing any tenderness that you're carrying with you today around the shoulders, the hips, the fingers and toes, around the neck and the face. Wherever you are holding tension, allow this wash of relaxation pour over you, letting it release, as if you're shedding this tension skin and stepping into a fresh new one. And with this, we'll just explore a few more cycles of breath, passing through you deep down into the pit of the stomach, climbing up towards the crown of the head as if you could breathe there. And then letting it pour straight back out. If you like setting intentions with your practice, then now is a perfect time to do so. Tapping into a little seedling that you'd like to plant. Whether a certain phrase, goal, maybe just one word, allow yourself to connect now. We just take one final cycle breath in and breath out. Then softly fluttering the eyes open, we take the hands behind you, lifting the knees up. We plant the soles of the feet down to your yoga mat, nice and wide, and just start to create a little windshield wiper motion with the legs. Rocking from left to right, allow one knee to fall in, the other to open out. Shifting and moving into the hip space. And if you would like to intensify here, you can take the hands away from the mat, bringing the hands just in front of the heart space and shifting from side to side, utilizing the legs, adding in this heat and mobility before we work into our stretch. And you may shift forwards on your yoga mat, so you might have to shimmy yourselves back. We'll come back to center, pointing the knees up. We then plant the left sole of the foot, or the left shin rather, down onto your yoga mat and take a hold of the right thigh, the right shin, in your arms, as if you're holding a little baby. We'll just rock from side to side, releasing out this hip space, flossing within the area. And if you can't quite wrap the arms around like this, like a little baby, then you can just take a hold of the foot, take a hold of the knee and kind of rock from side to side that way. We're just going to take one more inhale, still lengthening up through the spine. Then as we exhale, we place that right foot over the top of the left knee and then just allow the legs to relax, the knees to fall down. Now we're working into square pose. As you can see, I've got a little bit of a gap between my left foot and right knee. You may have a gap underneath that left knee as well. If you're feeling that, then don't worry, just pause as you are. You can open the legs out to a cross-legged position if you would prefer. If you wish to go deeper, we'll creep the hands forwards and bow the head down, taking 2 cycles of breath in your square pose, wherever you are. Then rising up to your seat after your second cycle. Using the hands to unravel that right leg, we plant the sole of the foot to the outer side of that left thigh. Take right fingertips behind you, left forearm or elbow hooks over that right knee. Find a twist from the belly, expand through the heart space, and take the gaze over that back shoulder if it feels okay within your neck. The rain's coming in. We find an inhale. Then as we exhale, slowly unravel, bringing yourself back to center. Release the legs and plant the soles, the feet out in front of you. Take one little windshield wiper motion for each side, shifting the hips, flossing them back out, adding some movement. We return to center, right shin drops down, take a hold of that left leg, cradling it like a little baby, and rocking from side to side. For more sensation when you're doing this, just squeeze that leg closer in towards the chest, and you'll start to feel this juicy stretch come up along the glute, the outer side of your leg. We find an inhale, then as we exhale, we place left sole of the foot on top of right knee, trying to bring the shins parallel to short edge of your mat. Find a cross-legged position if that suits you. Then we creep the hands forwards, bow down, coming into a little fold. After that final exhalation, we start to creep the hands in toward the body, lifting yourself up to your seat. We release left foot. Using the hands, we then plant the sole behind you. You can snuggle that right heel towards the glute. Bring left fingertips behind you, right elbow crosses over left knee. Find your twist, half Lord of the Fishes. Twisting from the belly, but puffing up the heart as we breathe in. Maybe as you breathe out, you can take the gaze over that back shoulder. Still finding expression, expansion in these twisted poses. When we're feeling a little bit more compressed and constricted, we find just one more breath in as we breathe out, start to unravel and bring the body back to center. Unraveling the legs, we plant the soles of the feet down and just take a floss from side to side. Then cross the ankles, cross the shins, take the hands to come out in front of you and shimmy your way up onto the hands and the knees for tabletop. Adjusting yourself so you've got wrists underneath the shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Take a nice deep breath in, we drop the belly, lift the tail and take the gaze forwards, making our way into cow pose. As you exhale, start to round through into cat, sending the spine towards the ceiling, curling the tailbone underneath you. Nice deep breath in, melt the belly low, squeeze those shoulder blades to help open the heart space forwards, then exhale, round it through, find the contraction. Breathing in, let's open out. And breathing out, we round through. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Let's flatten through the spine, coming into neutral tabletop. Start to press evenly between the palms and shift the weight into the left knee without working the hips over towards that left-hand side too much. We allow the right knee to hover and then extend the leg back behind you, pointing the toes towards the back of your room. We then shift the weight into the right palm, tent onto the left fingertips. Slowly we allow the left hand to rise, bicep runs along the ear, and we reach the fingertips towards the top of the mat. Find an inhale, then as we exhale, start to bend into right knee, take a left hand back behind you, can you tap the right foot? Inhale, we re-extend through arm and through leg, then as we exhale, we reach back round, can you tap the foot? Just one more inhale, we reach it forwards as if someone's pulling you from fingers, from toes, and exhale, reach back behind. This time, can you take a hold of the foot? Start to press the top of the foot into the palm, pausing here, opening out through shoulder and through the top of the hip. Maybe taking the gaze forwards to help lift a little higher. If you wobble and fall, don't worry, take the gaze down, find that core engagement. Lift a little bit higher as you breathe in. Then as we breathe out, we start to unravel. Place the foot between the palms at the top of your mat. Mount the hips low, coming into low lunge. Lovely. Now with an inhalation, we'll take the hands high, up and overhead. Finding this really nice stretch along the top of that back thigh as we melt the hips low, but we feel this really nice expression through the heart space and through the shoulders as we lift the fingertips high, as if we're holding a big beach ball above the head. One inhale, then as we exhale, glide the hips back, melting over that front thigh, we come to half split, toes point back towards the face. And if you have a block at home or a nice big book, you can take this to the inside of the leg just to help add an extra bit of elevation there if it feels intense, melting over the hamstring. We find just one more inhale. As you exhale, shift yourself forwards, grounding through the right sole, planting into the palms. We step right foot back to meet the left one. Take a little sway of the hips from side to side. And then one cycle of cat and cow, breathing in to drop the belly and breathing out to round through. Flattening through the spine, come to neutral tabletop. We now shift the weight into right knee and send that left leg back behind you. Point the toes towards the back of your space. Start to tent onto the right fingertips, find really strong core engagement, zipping that belly button in and up. Then slowly we lift the right fingertips away from your mat, arms extend forwards. Find a breath in, and as you breathe out, start to bend into back knee. Take that front hand behind you, right hand behind you. Can we tap the foot? Re-extend through the leg, breathing in. Then breathing out, tap the foot. Inhale, reaching forwards. Final time as we tap, we take a hold of the foot, starting to press the top of the foot into the palm, open the heart space and take the gaze forwards. Again, really nice opening along the top of the shoulder. Keep lifting that knee high, taking the gaze out in front of you. Oh, don't worry if you wobble and fall. We find just one more breath in. As we breathe out, we unravel and step the foot through to the top of your mat. Melting the hips down, low lunge. Grab a blanket or roll over your mat if the back knee is sensitive. We take an inhale, the arms come high. Big beach ball above the head. We find just one more breath in. Breathe out, glide the hips back. Dropping the hands down to your mat or to a block, we make our way to half split. Left toes shine upwards towards the ceiling or backwards towards the face as we melt over the leg to work into your hamstring. Allow one cycle of breath to pass through you here. Then with an inhalation, shift yourself forwards, ground through the palms and shift that left leg back to meet the right one. Melting the hips to heels, we come into a child's pose. Allow the forehead to drop. Take a cycle of breath, maybe wiggling the head from side to side and swaying the hips. Just keeping that bit of energy, that bit of movement flowing through you. Then after your cycle of breath, come up onto the hands and the knees for tabletop. We tuck the toes under, pick the knees up off of your mat and come to downward facing dog. First one of the practice, so just go a little bit steady. Take a bend into the knees. We can pedal out the feet, bending into one knee, straightening into the other. Maybe nodding the head, yes, and shaking it, no. Then with your next inhalation, pressing evenly between the palms, we take the right leg all the way up for three-legged down dog. Engaging through the glute to lift that leg high. Pausing for an exhale, then taking another inhale to lift even higher. We then bend into the right knee and step the foot through to the top of your mat. Left knee drops down, take the hands high as we inhale, either reaching up towards the ceiling or for an extra bit of stretch, we allow the hands to come to prayer. Let the thumbs drop between the shoulder blades and then let the back of the head rest into the arms. An extra back bend, an extra shift through that armpit and tricep space. Just one inhale as we exhale, glide it back, release the hands, unraveling the spine, we come to half split. Then with an inhalation, we shift forwards, grounding through the right sole of the foot. This time we tuck left toes and lift left knee. The left palm, left, comes to the heart center. Right fingertips sweep up and overhead as if we're squeezing the head into the side of the arm. Breathing in to lift up and over, a little mini back bend. As we exhale, straighten through that front leg and sweep the right fingertips back, diving the chest down. Still keeping the hand to heart, we breathe in, pulling through the crown of the head and the tail back. As we breathe out, soften into the right knee and reach the fingertips forwards towards the top of the mat. If you need a block there, then take a block. We get light on the left toes and start to lift the left leg. Almost as if we're coming into standing split, but we start to bend into your left knee, squeezing the heel towards the glute. Release your left hand back behind you. Can you take a hold of the foot? If not, then just energetically be there and reach back. If you have a hold of the foot, start to press the top of the foot into the palm, opening out into sugarcane. Finding one inhalation, then as we exhale, start to unravel. Oh, not quite like that. And release the foot to the top of the mat, coming into your forward fold. Shimmy out the legs if you need it. Then we rise up to standing with a deep breath in, taking the arms above the head. Sweep it up. Exhale, hands melt in front of the heart for prayer. We ground through the right sole of the foot. Start to hug the left knee into the chest as we inhale. Exhale, we take left foot back behind you, heel hugs in towards the glutes. Left hand comes to the left foot, in or outer side, whatever feels comfortable. Right fingertips reach for the ceiling. Again, similar thing, we start to press the top of the foot into the palm, coming into your dancer's pose. Lifting the heart space, but finding this tilt in the pelvis to help lift the body in this kind of bow shape, creating this back bend. We find one breath in here. As we breathe out, we release the foot all the way to the back of the mat, dropping the palms down to frame right foot, release the leg, and then plant the shin down, coming into pigeon. Tuck left toes under and slide your way back. Lift the body up, inhale, tilting the head, lifting the chin. And as we exhale, drop the forearms down, bow the head, coming into a pigeon fold. Take one more cycle of breath. And then we'll press into the palms to lift yourself up. Tuck the left toes under. Slide that knee back in for extra support. We hug right knee into the chest and step it all the way back to downward facing dog. Shimmy out the hips. Sway the hips from side to side. Releasing that right leg, that right glute. Then we're ready to go over to the other side. Plugging evenly between the palms, we take the left leg all the way up for three-legged down dog. Still sending the chest backwards towards that right thigh, we engage to lift a little bit higher, inhale. As we exhale, bend into the knee and step the foot through to the top of your mat. Right knee drops down, take the arms above the head as we breathe in low lunge. Option to bend into the elbows and allowing the head to fall back into the arms as if we're cradling here. Extra nice stretch and extra back bend for you, your body, for this really nice opening. We find one inhale, then as we exhale, glide it back. Come into your half split position, dropping the fingertips down, rippling over the thigh. Then with an inhalation, we shift forwards, tuck back toes, lift back knee. We take right hand to heart, left fingertips sweep up and overhead. Just for a breath in, we tilt back in high lunge. Then as we breathe out, triangle shape or pyramid shape with the legs. All 10 toes point to the top of the mat as the left fingertips shoot back and the crown of the head shoots forwards. Just one inhale here. As we exhale, soften into left knee. Reach the fingertips forwards towards the top of the mat. Get light on right toes and lift the leg high. Bend into the knee and reach back behind with the right palm. Can you take a hold of the foot? If you're there, press the top of the foot into the palm, coming to sugarcane. Find that focus, take the gaze down. We just take one more inhale. Then as you exhale, release the foot. Plant the sole to the top of your mat and ripple over the thighs for a forward fold. We then soften through the knees and rise up to standing, taking the arms above the head as we breathe in. Breathe out, hands rest in front of the heart for prayer. Ground through the left sole of the foot and hug right knee into the chest as we breathe in. Breathing out, we squeeze the heel towards the glute back behind you. Right palm comes to right foot. Left hand can stay where it is, or we reach the fingertips high. Start to press the top of the foot into the palm. Squeeze those inner thighs together so that knee doesn't open out to the side. Keeping everything facing forwards. Opening out through that heart center, lifting the toes high. Just one more inhale in dancer's pose. As we exhale, we release the foot. Step it to the back of the mat and both of the palms drop down to frame the left foot. Hug the knee into the chest as we land that left shin down. Slide the right leg back, coming into pigeon pose. Lifting up for an inhalation, press into the thighs, that front leg to help you out as we tilt back into a mini back bend. Then exhale, ripple forwards, drop the forearms, bow the head. 2 cycles of breath in this pigeon fold. We then press into the palms, guide yourself up. Tuck the right toes under and lift your right knee. Step the left leg all the way back into your downward facing dog and sway out the hips. We'll shift forwards for an inhalation. As we exhale, bend into the knees. Drop them downwards to the mat. We untuck the toes. Glide the hips back to come into your half split, your child's pose. And just allowing the breath to slow down now. Finding a steady pace in, breathing into the backside of the body while we're curled in this position. Take one more breath in and one more breath out. With an inhalation, we start to creep the hands in toward the body, lifting yourself up to a seat on the heels, making our way into camel pose. So if you've got a block with you, then you might want to bring that close by, just so you've got that extra support if you need it. We'll move through a few different variations, and then we can figure out what feels best for you. So because we've opened out through the tops of the thighs, through the hips, and through the heart space today, we can really work into this final expression, this really nice juicy shape within the upper part of your body, outstretching the tops of the thighs, the tummy, and the heart space and shoulders. So we'll start by coming into modified camel, bringing the hands just behind the feet with the fingertips pointing forwards as we sit on the heels. We slowly start to peel the hips away from the heels and then possibly tilting the head back. Coming into this modified camel shape, you'll start to feel it along the tops of the thighs, and as the head tilts back, working into the tops of the shoulders as well. If this feels good, then stay here for a few cycles of breath. If you're searching for a little more, allow yourself to rise up. Coming out of the shape, we come to standing onto the knees. Tuck the toes under for balance. We bring the hands to the lower part of your spine, either fingertips pointing down or pointing up, whichever feels best to you. We're just going to make sure that we squeeze those elbows in toward one another, so we're lifting up and over instead of dumping down into the lower part of the spine. So with an inhalation, squeezing those elbows in, we lift the heart space, lift the chin. As we exhale, we start to tilt back just slightly and take this as far as feels good to you. Now for some of you, you might want to go even deeper. If so, see if you can drop that right hand down onto your right ankle. And if you want, we can come to half camel, taking left arm up and over the head, reaching back. If you want to come into full camel, we then allow the left hand to drop downwards onto the ankle, onto the foot, and then tilt the head back. Still pressing the hips just slightly forwards, feeling this up and over motion. Beautiful shapes. Breathing wherever you are. Then when you're ready to come out of the shape, it'll feel different for everybody. We hug the chin in towards the chest. Bring one hand up to the lower part of the spine, then the other if you're coming out of full camel. We then softly melt the seat back down to your heels, untucking the toes, finding a neutral spine, breathing in. Breathing out. Slowly start to dive the chest forwards, rippling over the thighs, the arms fall alongside the legs, forehead drops down, we come into a fetal position. If you're searching for something a little bit more to help round out through the spine, allow the top of the head to drop downwards onto your mat. Nose shimmies just slightly closer towards the knees. Take a hold of the ankles or the feet and slowly start to lift the hips away from the heels, coming into your rabbit pose. Rounding the spine a little more forwards and up. And as I say, feeling into that counter stretch a little more. Just one more inhale. Then as we exhale, the hips can lower back down to the heels, coming into your child's pose or fetal position. Now we'll take the hands just by the sides of the legs, by the sides of the thighs, and slowly start to lift yourself up to a seat on the heels. Once you've reached that position, just drop the hips to one side, swing the legs to come round in front of you and shuffle forwards up towards the top of your mat. Bring a soft bend into the knees and slowly we lower down onto the back, using your core muscles, finding your breath, finding your exhalation. Arms come alongside the thighs, keep breathing, slow down in the areas where you want to speed up in. Then once you've lowered down onto your spine, onto your back, we just hug the knees into the chest and gently rock from side to side. Massaging out the lower part of your back into your yoga mat. And this should feel so good. And just to complete the practice, we'll come into this final opening. Bring the soles of the feet together, the knees open out wide. Take the arms above the head. Taking a hold of opposite elbow, we come to Supta Baddha Konasana, your reclined butterfly. Opening heart, opening hips. This full body expansion. As we leave our practice here, allow yourself to stay for as long as you need. Maybe using this as an opportunity to return back to the intention that you set at the beginning of practice. Absorbing in each and every final moment before you step into your day-to-day life. Soaking up the magic of yoga, the magic of the breath. I thank you so much for practicing with me today. From my heart to yours. Namaste.